We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Trump was unwavering. He was unapologetic.
Welcome on into another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. How you guys feeling today? Put a 1 in the comment if you're feeling good. Put a 2 in the comment. If you could be a little better, put a 3 in the comment if you're taking one day at a time. Now, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. That's all I ask. Hit the bell notification and hit the AirTag EMF protector to support the channel even further. Protect yourself against electromagnetic frequency, the ones that you cannot see. Now, today's topic, we will be talking about the Trump speech, tariffs, the new Cold War that I see. I made a quote earlier. Go check out my post earlier, and I explained it in grave details. And how Bitcoin has something to do with this all, right? Because it's going to be a war on Bitcoin. Because to me, it's one of the greatest wealth transfer that one might see in the next 10 to 15 years. That's just my opinion. Not financial advice, but I own Bitcoin and I like it. Now, let's go.
He was defiant and he was at ease. He was glad to be back in the job.
And we've ended weaponized government where, as an example, a sitting president is allowed to viciously prosecute his political opponent, like me. How did that work out? Not too good. Not too good.
The optics of the night were quite striking. It looked, quite frankly, like America. It was very divided. President Trump spent a lot of time talking about the things he's already done in the first 43 days.
Illegal border crossings last month were by far the lowest ever recorded, ever. We're getting wokeness out of our schools and out of our military, and it's already out, and it's out of our society. We don't want it.
But he did not talk a lot about what he wants to do in the next 11 months or even 3.5 years. And so filling in those blanks and getting details about the policies and proposals, that's going to be something his administration is going to be challenged to provide.
We need Greenland for national security and even international security, and we're working with everybody.
Also, another reason why I think that they need Greenland, and to me, it kind of make sense from a strategic point of view. If you're thinking war, right? If Zelensky, Ukraine has a lot of natural earthly minerals, right? And guess who else have a lot of earthly minerals? Checkmate. Greenland. That simple. Zelensky, you don't want to sign this. You don't want to sign this. Now, after 2-3 days go by, you reneged on what you said on national TV, basically saying that you really don't need America, when in actuality, you kind of do. Because now Russia, to me, isn't as strong as it used to be. To me, the EU, the European nation, can crush Russia. That's just my opinion. Because if Russia was so strong, they would have obliterated Ukraine by now. Now you got the NATO that's protecting Ukraine, of course, but I'm just saying, a one-on-one Russia, they will obliterate Ukraine. Now, a one-on-one with Russia and the EU nation, I hardly doubt that. I think they can hold their weight. But let me know what you guys think, right? Let me know what you guys think. And I also wanted to speak about tariffs. I'm going to play the rest of this video, and I wanted to speak about tariff, how, to me, that is the new war. We were literally in it. When we have over 250 proxy wars, and I think this would be the 251. Reason I say that is because, have you noticed, right? And I'm not saying that in order for it to get better, it's going to get worse. That's the first thing. So prices will continue to go up on goods, gas, natural gold, silver, all the earthly elements, copper. Prices will drive up, right? Avocado will go up. Things that Canada sent over will go up, right? Mexico just shut down its border today. I got to play a video of that because I just seen that on my feed. But I'm saying it all to say we are in a actually economic warfare, and it's brought to you by tariffs. So Trump's going to set his tariffs. The other nations are going to set their tariffs as well in retaliation. So to me, that is the new war front. That's the new war front. And then I'm going to tie it into how I think that Bitcoin, to me, is going to be a race for that, because both nations will begin to race, because that will be the thing that actually, right, give one its superpower. One of the things. And I also believe that they're making America the factory again, right? Back in 19, and I explained it in a post, back in 1991, and before that, the United States sold most of their what would you call this? Most of their industrial protocols, right? Which means the factories and everything else, they sold that to China. That's why everything was made in China. And they sold that to be in some form of alliance with other people, being basically the world's boss, right? So they sold our labors overseas. Now, this is bipartisan, which means this is the red, this is the blue, because Biden was doing the same thing as well. You got to pay attention to what's going on. That's why I say in politics, they're actually, both of them are, the red and the blue is actually they're actually on both sides, meaning that, or they actually do things to actually push the needle forward. Some are better than the other. I think with this presidency right now, Trump is much better than a lot of people, but nonetheless, he's still a politician and he's still part of the United States government. And at the end of the day, they have an agenda. And the agenda, to me, in the next 10 to 15 years, right? Let's just say the next 10 to 20 years, 3 decades, right? 10 to 30 years, 3 decades. They're going to bring back the factories to the United States of America. Pay attention to what's going on. I'm going to reveal that to you guys later on during this video. But let me not rant and let's continue.
Involved to try and get it, but we need it really for international world security. And I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it.
President Trump said he wanted Congress by the end of this year to renew and extend the tax cuts from 2017. But he didn't explain exactly how he wants them to get the votes.
And I'm sure that the people on my right, I don't mean the Republican right, but my right here, I'm sure you're going to vote for those tax cuts, because otherwise I don't believe the people will ever vote you into office. So I'm doing you a big favor by telling you that.
A big part of the night was kind of a made-for-TV theme where he introduced special guests.
And his greatest dream is to attend the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. Jason, that's a very big deal getting.
He also paid tribute to the person. Well, I believe it was 3 individuals that actually got shot on the day of when they did an attempted assassination on the president. So he paid tribute. I'm not sure that they're going to show it in this. This was just a quick synopsis brought you by WSJ about, what happened on that day. Because the original clip is about 2 hours long. The original clip is about 2 hours long. I would have to break that down in segments, but I wanted to talk about a few things and connect the dots real quick.
And that's a hard one to get into, but I'm pleased to inform you that your application has been accepted. You will soon be joining the Corps of Cadets.
Congratulations.
His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer.
And this one right here was a little bit heart touching, because look at the backstory on this fellow right here. So this actually was one of the highlights for the night as well.
And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
There was an interruption early in the speech. Just a few minutes in, Congressman Al Green of Texas, a Democrat, stood up and started shaking a cane at the president. It did lead Congressman Green to being removed from the chamber.
Of course.
Democrats mostly sat silently, at times challenging things that he said, but frequently just holding up signs.
That's what killed me right there. The fact that these guys, it's like you work together at the end of the day, right? You guys have lunch and sip tea and crackers and cheese at the end of the day. Red, you got to think about it. This is the United States of America. They're in business. They're in business together at the end of the day. Red or blue. They're in business together at the end of the day. Some may do the agenda better than others, but don't get bamboozled, don't get tricked, don't get fooled, right? Some are better representative. I think as far as politics go, Trump may be the best representative for this and the protocols that he stands for. Do I agree with everything that he do? No, because I have common sense, right? But as far as making this nation what it needs to be, and I'm saying there's going to be a lot of turmoil. It's not going to be an easy road because we've been doing things for hundreds of years the same way. And we're actually going into a new golden era. We're going into a new money infrastructure. We're going into a lot of different things, right? So it's going to be a lot of turmoil. And then it will be clear skies. That's what I solely believe. Let me know what you believe.
Frequently just holding up signs.
Those signs killed me. False. Must steals. Save Medicaid. False, false, false. Now, you're saving Medicaid, but yet you guys know, and this is a fun fact. I don't know if a lot of people know this. You guys know who own Medicaid, right? And Medicare? Do your research. Maybe, in fact, I'll do an upload on that to break that down to you guys. Obama Trust owns Medicaid and Medicare. So anytime you hear that, that directly goes to Obama. Just saying, his trust. It directly goes there. So is it the best? Perhaps not. You know, it's a lot of things that's wrong with what's going on in our nation, but I'll break that down on another video.
Republicans in Congress seemed very supportive of the steps he's taken so far to cut spending, and they were very enthusiastic when Elon Musk stood up and President Trump described many of the programs that he was going to try to.
And this is what I think about this Elon situation, right? If you want to make any business, and I view America as a business better, you need to know what's coming in, input, and you need to know what's going out, output. It could simply be just computer codes if you really want to be technical, but that's a whole nother thing, right? Input, output. You need to know what's coming in and what's going out, right? The fact that they created a department of government efficiency is simply just to it's a simple service. It was actually a great simple idea. Let's see what's going in and let's see what's going out, and let's see how we can trim the fat off of the unnecessary spending and how we can clean that up, from fraud to social security scam to education, giving too much money to one sector, but the cause and the purpose of that actual organization isn't being met. People are getting paid that's no longer alive. You got people that's 115 years old to 130 to 140 to 150 to 160, that millions of people, that where's the money going? And this all affects the taxpayer at the end of the day. So I believe that if you're actually against Doge, to me, it means that you're against making this place that we must live in. If you live in the United States, which affects the entire world, right? In order to make it a little bit better. That's all I'm saying. And the fact that, to me, that Elon is with Trump, to me, he's going to get ridiculed. His life is probably on the line every day. Every day. But nonetheless, they move forward. And that's what I respect.
Eliminate.
He's working very hard. He didn't need this. He didn't need this. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Everybody here, even this side, appreciates it, I believe.
The Republicans in the chamber seemed a little more uncomfortable with his discussion of trade and tariffs.
Tariffs. It's a beautiful word, isn't it?
The stock market has fallen, the Dow more than 1,000 points in the past 2 days because of the new tariffs that President Trump has imposed on Canada, Mexico, and China.
The tariffs will go on agricultural product coming into America, and our farmers, starting on April 2nd, it may be a little bit of an adjustment period.
He didn't spend a lot of time at all asking Congress for legislation, for any new proposals. He sort of suggests.
Okay, I'm gonna let you guys watch the rest of that video. I'm gonna leave it in the source. I give credit when credit's due. That was brought to you by WSJ. I believe that's news or network. So let me drop that right into the sourcing on YouTube Studio real quick, and it's underneath source, so you don't have to look too far. It's underneath source, and I'll leave you guys with the link. Go finish watching that video and do your, oh, that was an extensive link. And do your research. Do your research, right? Don't get easily swayed. I always like to ask why and how when I watch these things and do a quick breakdown. Now we're going to stop sharing that screen, and it's time to share another screen. And let's go to the scrolling part of the show, and we're going to talk about let's talk about these companies coming back to America, right? Let's talk about that.
You saw TSMC, the chip manufacturer, saying they're going to invest $100 billion into the United States for research and development. That's going to be new jobs in Texas across the U.S. Toyota just announced that they're moving manufacturing out of Mexico to Indiana. That's going to be thousands of jobs for Americans. UAW just made an announcement today saying, yes, finally an end to NAFTA, which promised to uplift all boats, has actually destroyed quite a bit of the middle class. You may disagree, Paul, but the facts speak for themselves.
Well, maybe
so the point is, yes, there's going to be a temporary pinch, but as a lot of these companies and manufacturers look for a workaround, a part of that workaround, Jake, will be the realization that we have to move manufacturing to America, to hire Americans, to rebuild the middle class that is frankly almost non-existent today.
I know you have a lot.
You saw it.
And I believe everything this man said. You can look it up yourself. You got the TSMC, which is Taiwan Semiconductor. They're going to have a factory in Arizona. You have Apple, one of the world's largest company, is going to have their factories in the United States. You have Tesla that's going to have, it's already have its factories and the space programs and everything else. Starlink in the United States. You're going to have Toyota coming back to the United States as well. So I think this will incentivize at the end of the day. Y'all remember when you guys parents used to, not your parents, but maybe your grandparents, right? They used to work in the factories, and the factories used to be a thing. I think the factories is coming back to the United States of America, right? So blue collar job, which is the majority of the middle class, right? It will begin to have an explosion once again. People will begin to travel from all over the world in order to work in a factory, anything along that nature, with then create new businesses and new opportunities. Will computers do some of the factory work? Of course, right? But I think humans will also do most of the work as well, right? Let's just see how that goes and how we can ramp in the speed to develop the United States of America once again to be the superpower and to actually be the head of all the factories in the world. Because like I say, we actually sold that to China. We sold that to China. And the way I see it is that China economy is going. Can somebody say down, down? Chinese economy is going down. There's not enough young people there. You guys remember when China made a law stating that you can only have one child per household? That was the most devastating thing ever, because now it's too many old people or older people. And I respect my elders, nothing against them, but there are too many elderly people in China and not enough youth to replenish and replace the Chinese economy. Numbers are very important in this game that we call life. At the end of the day, we are created to create. We are created to reproduce. That's everyone's purpose on earth. So get to it. Get busy. Now, I wanted to show you and see Apple moving to the USA. Let's see what they say about that.
With Apple making the historic investment in the U.S. economy, tech giant is going to invest $500 billion in U.S. manufacturing efforts. Is this a smart strategic move here at the right time?
Making President Trump happy is always a good strategic move for a CEO of a company who's very much exposed to the types of policies that are going to come from this administration. I would focus less on the bombastic number. Again, this is a number that's made to make a political statement, but more on the fact that some of these investments may actually be incremental. A plant in Houston may be incremental. The overall number likely includes, for the sake of conversation, cost of goods sold, SG&A, et cetera. It's probably not incremental CapEx. That's more political. But there may actually be some domestic investment that is incremental that was not.
I think that's needed in the space. Now, let me stop sharing that. I want to share another TikTok. I like how StreamYard now, they kind of give you a rollout, and it's easier to actually navigate what's literally going on. Now, let's talk about the tariffs, because like I say, the tariff to me is considered turbulence to me. Tariffs to me are considered turbulence. We're going to go back and forth. This is the new war phase that we're in. It's an economical war, right? It's an economical war led by tariffs. Let's go.
Says it's ready to fight until the end in any type of war with America. The comment posted on X by the Chinese embassy in Washington came after President Trump doubled his previous tariffs on Beijing, taking them to 20%. China quickly hit back, imposing 10 to 15% tariffs on US farm products, moving the world's top two economies closer to a trade war. This week, China also announced it will boost its defense spending by nearly 10% this year. China says it's
data confirming the USA is now the top destination for Bitcoin miners, surpassing China for the first time. CNBC's Mackenzie.
That's another plus. Like I said, it's going to be who has the most Bitcoin. Now, China, they can do a lot of cyber attacks and cyber warfare. So this is another part that's going to be a part of it as well, right? I think cyber warfare will be a part of it, along with the tariffs and everything else. Because there's been a lot of bank outages and everything else. It's just not being let's just say that it's not on mainstream media and it's not being broadcast. I apologize, tongue twister. It's not being broadcast, which means that it's not in your foresight or your frontal lobe. Therefore, it's not programmed for you to see it. I've already seen these things. They generally put it inside of newsletters or anything along that nature. It's not going to make headlines because they don't want you to panic. Right? They will much rather give you a slow drippage of fear, a dosage every time. They don't want to give you the whole thing because that may knock you out. Let's continue. And Bitcoin mining, to me, now these are companies on the stock market. If you guys don't know, look up Mara, M-A-R-A. That's a mining company. And also look up Riot, R-I-O-T. That's another mining company as well. Just in case you guys trade and everything else, because if you know that these things are coming to the United States, you know that it has a chance to go on up, but yet tariffs still might bring prices on down. I'm not giving you guys financial advice, but put yourself in a great position in order to benefit off of the cause and effects of what's going on in the new world.
Sagalos joins us now with more on those numbers. And we can say right now that the U.S. is winning the battle here. Can it continue to win the war?
Yeah, so the numbers here are pretty staggering, Dom. The U.S. is firmly in the lead. It now accounts for about 1/3 of all of the world's Bitcoin miners. That's up 428% from September of 2020. And while we already knew that the U.S. was becoming more and more of a hotspot for miners, this new data from Cambridge University confirms that the U.S. is #1 in terms of its share of the Bitcoin mining market. Meanwhile, China, which was once the epicenter of this industry, has seen its share fall from 67% to 0 in less than a year. And this is, of course, because Beijing made this big push to entirely shut down its domestic crypto market. And since then, we've seen this mass migration of China.
That made me think. You know how the United States is going to have the upper hand on China, and you notice that they're having tariffs on China, but what about Southern or South Asia? They may incentivize South Asia, put strategic advantage. This is how the game go, right? They're going to incentivize South Asia, right, and keep their foot on, and they're going to keep their foot on China's neck. by incentivizing the people around them to say, hey, we can do business, right? But we do business. You can't do business with China. I'm just saying. And I think that's going to be the play. Canada and Mexico, they're not really worried about Canada and Mexico. Canada and Mexico needs the United States more than the United States need them. So to me, that's something that you don't really have to worry about. Now, will the prices go up? Of course. Avocado, it's about 200 different items in the United States that Canada and Mexico generally they're in charge of. Those things will go up, right? But so will the Canadian and the Mexican as far as the profit. If that goes up, the profit will go down, and people just simply just not going to buy. They're going to find different alternatives to buy. That's all that's going to happen. So at the end of the day, to me, Mexico going to lose a mass amount of money, and Canada going to lose a mass amount of money, no matter what they do. Now, China may be one of our competitions. We know that they are a superpower, but America also has a superpower as well. You guys got to remember that the United States dollar covers all four corners of this earth. Just saying. That strategic advantage to me, whoever owns the money, control the entire planet. If you have the right to print your money, I'm just saying. So the United States dollar is in every nation, right? I believe that they're going to go to the digital. That's why Bitcoin is going to be so important with this. That why you think that we're mining more in the United States. It's all a setup. Most of the people won't see these things until it's too late. I was blessed with the ability to see, and also I asked for wisdom, and that's what I received. So I'm letting you guys know this is just what I see. Clear eye view. This is a clear eye view, on a beautiful horizon. So I'm just letting you guys know what I foreshadow and what I see to be in the next, I'm about 15, 20 years ahead, and it's like chess. I see the pieces on the board, and it's all leading to the same ending point. And the point is that the dollar will change. We're going to go digital. Whoever owns the most Bitcoin will run this new digital era and digital realm. Also, factories are coming back to the United States of America, and things will be made in America again. Study history. It rhymes most of the time.
Chinese miners heading to places like the United States, also to neighboring Kazakhstan. The bottom line, miners are looking for cheap electricity. They compete in a low margin industry where their only variable cost is typically energy. And that's a big part of why the US has come out on top.
That was well said. Now I wanted to check out Mexico closes its border today. Let's see what they're talking about. This is what I seen earlier, so I want to share with you guys. See, Mexico closes its border today.
This viral video on TikTok shows the US and Mexico border being shut down by the Mexican authorities because of the tariffs that were put on Mexico today. Both Mexico and Canada have sent a message that they will not play games in a trade war. Whether they deserve tariffs or not is up to you to tell me in the comments. But neither country is playing games, and both countries are.
Let me tell you why I believe that the little 20% that they put in on China and Mexico is nothing compared to the percentages, if you study history, that they placed on the United States of America. It's some places in the world that have hundreds of percentages, 100, 200, 300 percentages on Americans' good being sold in their nation. So I believe that Trump's seen a window to say, you know what? They need us more than we need them. And we no longer need Russia We no longer need China. We actually have to go back to what we used to do, and let's have the factories being built here, manufacturing. Let's be the manufacturing capital of the world once again. And in order to do that, we have to cut these ties with these people that state that, hey, we can sell in your country, like Canada, right? Mexico. We can sell, they can sell in our country, but we cannot sell in their country. And if we do sell in their country, we have tariffs that's hundreds of percentages. You guys find that to be even fair? It's like a one-way street. So I think America has just woken up and say, you know what? The ball was already in our court. Why? Because we created the court and recreated the ball. Therefore, let the games begin.
Are very serious about not messing around with tariffs. If the United States is going to impose tariffs on them, they will not play nicely. Sorry, the cat distracted me. What do you think about this impending trade war that has begun for the past couple weeks, but kind of more of?
Let's see what Canada has to say. Canada, and then this is going to be the end of the show. Canada responds to tariffs.
The United States launched a trade war against Canada, their closest partner and ally, their closest friend. At the same time, they're talking about working positively with Russia, appeasing Vladimir Putin.
Pause. Are you a friend? Because why can't we sell our goods there, have banking there? Are you truly a friend? Or are you a one-sided friend that whatever you say goes, but no one else can make money with you, huh? But yet you can make money with everyone else. I beg to differ.
Putin, a lying, murderous dictator. Make that make sense. Canadians are reasonable and we are polite, but we will not.
They don't need Russia either. The United States doesn't even need Russia at all. I'm just saying.
Back down from a fight. Not when our country and the well-being of everyone in it is at stake. I want to speak first directly to the American people. We don't want this. We want to work with you as a friend and ally. And we don't want to see you hurt either. But your government has chosen to do this to you. Now I want to speak directly to one specific American, Donald. In the over 8 years you and I have worked together, we've done big things. We signed a historic deal that has created record jobs and growth in both of our countries. We've done big things together on the world stage, as Canada and the US have done together for decades, for generations. And now we should be working together to ensure even greater prosperity for North Americans in a very uncertain and challenging world. Now, it's not in my habit to agree with the Wall Street Journal, but Donald, they point out that even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do.
I beg to differ. It was actually smart if you're thinking long term. If you're thinking short term, I believe that Canada needs the US more than the US needs Canada. On that note, smash that like button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. This is the beginning. This is not the end. Another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. Grab your pots and pans. It's time to cook. Don't forget the spatula. And this is how I generally like to end the show.